Now, let's dive into what academic competition actually looks like in our daily lives. Whether we realize it or not, competition is a common reality deeply embedded in our schools and colleges, often manifesting through grades, class rankings, and individual achievements. But competition isn't one dimensional, it has a significant dual nature. On the positive side, for many students, it acts as a powerful motivator. It's that push that encourages us to study harder, stay focused, and reach for higher academic goals. However, there is a flip side. For others, constant comparison to peers can lead to increased stress, instant pressure, and even anxiety. It can transform a learning environment into a source of fear rather than growth. As highlighted by the Midwestern educational researcher, academic competition does not affect all students in the same way. This brings us to the core goal of our project to truly understand whether these competitive environments help students thrive or if they ultimately cause more harm than good. Next, we will look at the specific problem statement. Moving on to our problem statement, while academic competition is widely used across all levels of education, its true impact remains a subject of heavy debate. Does it actually help? While some argue it encourages students to work harder and achieve better results, others see it as a source of unhealthy comparison that may do more harm than good. This brings us to a critical concern: mental well being. We are seeing a shift where many students feel pressured to perform not because they love learning, but out of fear of falling behind their peers. This kind of environment can trigger stress, anxiety, and low self esteem, raising the question of whether our current systems are supporting or damaging student health. And because every student reacts differently to competition, there is no clear answer yet. Therefore, the aim of our report is to explore this exact question: is academic competition truly beneficial or is it harmful? We will examining both sides to understand how it affects both academic performance and the overall mental well-being of students.
So, this is our objectives. The first one is to find out how academic competition affects students' motivation to study. The second one is to examine the bad effects of academic competition on students' stress and emotions. The third one is to identify the good effects of academic competition on students' performance. Next, to see how different students react to competitive learning environments. And lastly, to decide whether academic competition helps or harms students overall.
Now, we move into a case study. For this case study, we use an article in The Diplomat which publishes in June 2025 by Seong Jeon about the South Korea education system. In this article, it described that the system is highly competitive with a strong emphasis on academic achievement and university entrance. And this academic competition began early, with children taking exams as young as 4 to 7 years old. And nearly half of all children are enrolled in private education. And by middle and high school, students also study late into the night for preparing the major exams such as College Scholastic Ability Test or CSAT, or in South Korea, it's pronounced as Sineyong. Why students perform well in international assessment, the system also linked to issue among young students such as reduced sleep, high stress, burnout, and mental health problem. So let's go to analysis and discussion for this case study. There's a benefit of academic competition where it's effective in producing a high academic achievement. And according to OECD, a 15 years old Korean student is consistently perform in above the OECD average in mathematics, reading, and science in PISA. There's also a type of learning named competition-based learning or CBL, and can contribute to a higher student engagement improved academic performance, a faster progress among a lower performing student, so they can keep up to the high performing student, and it also reduces achievement gap between the student. And the high stake examination also serve as a strong motivation factor and encourage the student to have a high discipline and effort for the study. Unfortunately, there are also a harmful side for this academic competition. See, because this intense academic competition can create a significant psychology pressure on students, which cause them to be sleep deprivation due of long study hours and late night revision, which can cause stress, academic burnout, and increased risk of mental health issue. The contributing factor for this psychology pressure is heavy workloads and tight deadlines, high expectation from parents and society, a strict guarding and need for near perfect score in South Korea. This high-stake examination also create a sense fear of failure, where students who do not achieve required score will face a reduced opportunity to study in prestigious university and academic pathway, so their fear is justified. A research also showed that adolescents who experience a high academic pressure at the age 15 showed a higher depressive symptom with the age of 16 and 22 years old. And students in South Korea often report to have a lower life satisfaction despite a strong academic result. In conclusion, the South Korean education system demonstrates that academic competition is double-edged sword. It produces a strong academic outcome, particularly in subjects such as mathematics and science, and also serve as a motivator for students. However, this benefit have psychological costs, where a high academic pressure can cause stress, burnout, and reduce mental well-being. And the strict grading system and high stake examination can increase the fear of failure and performance pressure. And students may achieve a high academic result but experience a lower life satisfaction. Overall, this system highlights a clear trade-off between academic achievement and student well-being.
Alright, so next I will explain the recommended solution. So first, we should create a mastery oriented learning environment. That means that focusing on personal improvement rather than comparing students with others. So when students focus on their own progress, they will feel less pressured and become more motivated to learn. Instead of ranking student, we can replace it with goal setting and self-progress tracking, where this allows students to measure their own improvement over time, which build confidence and encourage continuous learning. Next, we can also use the collaborative learning activities with like working in groups to help reduce pressure and create a more supportive environment. It also helps to maintain students to engage because they can learn from each other. And finally, it is important to provide student autonomy. Their students should be given the choice to participate in competitive tasks if they are comfortable. This ensures that learning remains inclusive and less stressful for everyone. And overall, these approaches can help create a more positive and effective learning experience. In conclusion, academic competition can be both beneficial and harmful, depending on how it is implemented. It can motivate students to achieve excellence and build discipline, as seen in South Korea's education system. But excessive pressure often leads to stress, anxiety, and burnout. While competition may improve academic results, it doesn't ensure student well-being or happiness. Therefore, success should be measured not only by grades, but also by emotional and psychological growth. A balanced approach that combines motivation with support and collaboration can help students succeed without sacrificing their well-being. And that is all from our group. Thank you very much.